Hey developers, today we're going to look at tips and tricks that you can use on Google to become faster at Googling things as a developer. I don't know if you're anything like me, but I use Google all the time to look up syntax that I forgot, to look up error messages, or anytime I'm trying to learn something. But did you know that you can actually refine your searches in Google to try to find exactly what you need quicker and easier than just typing it in? So we're gonna look at things like that. We're gonna see some tips and tricks. What I want to know is if you have some tips and tricks yourself, make sure you leave a comment below. Let me know. And also, as always, click subscribe and click that like button if you like videos like this. All right, so let's just go and dive into this. So right now I have google.com open in an incognito window. And now I'm gonna do some searches. And the first tip I wanna show you guys is something you may already know, but if you're using Chrome or any of the modern browsers, you don't necessarily have to go to obviously google.com to search. You can just hit Control L on Windows, I believe it's Command L on Mac. It'll bring up the search bar or the URL bar at the top, and then you can just search for whatever you're looking for, like for example, hello world, and then it'll search for you. That's obviously a very quick way of searching. Another thing I really like to do when I'm searching is to try to find specific information for a specific site. So I think most of us probably watching right now use Stack Overflow as a great resource to find information, but you can actually use Google to search Stack Overflow without going to Stack Overflow. So to do that, what you need to do in the Google bar at the top, type in site, and then stackoverflow.com, and then the search term that you're looking for. So for example, let's say I want to look at errors in stencil.js. After I hit enter here, it'll actually just search Stack Overflow for those keywords, and you'll have a whole list here. And you can see on the left-hand side, all the sites list Stack Overflow, and here they all are. Now you may think, why should you use this since Stack Overflow already has a search? But I've noticed sometimes the search on Google is the same, if not better, than the site that you're searching for. And some sites that don't have any search capabilities at all, well, you can use this trick and then be able to search for the information in the site because it's all indexed by Google. Another quick tip is to use quotations around the searches that you're looking for. So for example, if I want to look up, I don't know, Ember.js tutorials, and I want to make sure that those two words are in the search result right next to each other, I can put quotes around them, and then when I hit enter, you can see all the results have that in the title or in the description that comes up from Google. So this is a really neat trick because we can get exact terms what you want. Oh, by the way, hey, here's my tutorial that I created a long time ago, and I put that exact keyword in the title, so it came up. This is perfect. Let's say you have an error message that you got out of your console. You can actually just copy that text, put quotes around it, and you can see if anybody else has posted on the internet. It's a great way to find articles and find solutions. Occasionally, when I'm searching for things, I want to search for two unrelated items, but I want to have them both in the search and not necessarily right next to each other. I just did a video on different UI frameworks. So what if I want to do something like Vuetify and Vue 3? So I can do Vuetify or just Vue 3. And this will show me results that have Vuetify and Vue 3 in the title. So for example, this one, the Vuetify roadmap, this is exactly what I would be looking for. So now I have Vuetify and Vue 3, they're both there and they're both coming up. So you can kind of use this and keyword to combine searches for two terms that not necessarily next to each other, but should be related in what you're looking for. So that's a really cool tip and a good thing you can use when you're searching. Another one is, just as programmers, we use and all the time, we use or all the time. So if you want to look at something that's or, so I can do Angular or React. This will have results that have Angular or React, but not necessarily both of them together. So, well, in this case, we do have Angular versus React, but there is some things for Angular or React. We can also use this pipe command, and it does the same thing. So now we have React and Angular. And look, like if we want to do, let's say we want to look at Vue 2. So now we have React, Angular, and Vue. So 3 different search terms. Google is pretty smart at doing this. So using the or keyword or the pipe operator, or pipe will make sure you do an or between these different search terms. There are times where I'm looking up tutorials and I want to not necessarily include everything with it. So for example, maybe I'm looking at React tutorial, but I don't want to have anything on classes. What I can do is I can put dash and then classes, and that will exclude that from the search results. So now I have React here. How do you use classes in React? But it doesn't have any search results that have classes in it. So if I'm trying to learn hooks or something like that, and I want to make sure my tutorials don't have any of that weird hook stuff in it, then I will, or in class stuff in it, and when I just want hooks, then you could do it like this. Another neat thing you can do is use placeholders. So let's say I'm trying to learn something in like 10 days. So I can put quotes around it. I can learn, let's say I'm trying to learn Angular. Learn Angular in, and I can put star days. And what that's gonna do is the star is sort of like a wild card, and it'll fill that in for you. So now I have learn Angular in 10 days, learn Angular in 3 days. It's in one of the search results. Learn Angular in 2 days, in 21 days, in 15 days. So I have lots of information coming back kind of in this format. So I could use this while I'm searching. If I'm trying to learn a concept in a certain amount of days, I can use this wildcard, and it just makes it a little bit quick. Another really cool tip is, and I've seen people do this when they're trying to actually like find books for their classes, like college kids, but I think this is important too because there's a lot of free books. You can do file type : and then the extension of that file type, for example, PDFs, and then look for like learn CSS. And you can find books that are PDF that are free to download that have this file type PDF. It doesn't always work. I've seen some of these results aren't actual PDFs to download, but a lot of them are. So you may want to try that. Just do this file type : PDF and whatever you're looking for, and it should bring up some documents you can download. You can also not just use PDF, you can use Word, whatever you want to use. Another really cool thing is you can use ranges. Let's say I'm looking at ECMAScript and I want to look at a range from 2018 to 2021. I just put this ... in there, and now it will show me the range between these 2018, 2019, 2021. So you can see here I have 2018, I have 2021 in the search results. So if you have kind of ranges of dates, that's a pretty easy thing to do. Also, I think to end this video, and I hope you guys made it all the way to the end. If you did, I really appreciate it. Make sure you leave a comment below and tell me if you like these videos or not. But one really nice thing is when I'm learning tutorials, I often search Google and I find that the information really old or stale or a couple of months old, or maybe it's like a year or two old, but somehow it's still on the first page of Google. And Google's pretty good at getting rid of old articles for searches, but sometimes it just isn't as good. So what I do here is let's say I'm trying to learn React. I'll do React tutorial, and I'll spell it right. And then I'll click on this little button here that says tools. I'll change it from any time to, like, let's say the past month. And now I have, let's see here, React tutorial. I'll search, what do you do? Search for it first, apologize. Then you hit tools, and then you can change it like, yeah, past year. You can see here's some tutorials from the past year, or I can do it the past month. And really cool thing about Google is it also indexes YouTube videos. So if you're like me and like to watch how to do things, then you can use that to help you out. So like here's one that's on January 23rd, January 25th. Here's some full React Net Ninja, great channel, by the way. I'll give them a shout out. They have some really good tutorials in React and other things. So cool. Now I have like modern and very tutorials that were created really recently that I can use to learn. So don't forget to ever use this tools path and change the dates. You can even do a custom range. Let's say I wanted to see React tutorials from December of last year. I can put the start and end date, and now I see only things that were released in December. Like here's December 21st, December 23rd. Yeah, so it's really powerful. I would highly recommend you guys use this when you're searching for information. You want to narrow down the dates for it. Hey, and that's just about it. I do have one other thing, a quick tip. I've ran into this. If you ever have a terminal and you have this huge error message and it has like this huge path to the exact file that gave you the error message, make sure when you copy and paste that from your terminal into Google that you remove all that stuff you don't need. You don't need that actual full path to the file, because if you put that into Google, it may not find it at all. So you may want to just take the information after the path, maybe even just a few keywords, and pop that into Google. You might have to do that a few times, and you'll find people who have that same error. So just remember, anytime you're using Google, don't just copy everything over. Try to just copy the pertinent error and search through there, and use things like site stackoverflow.com. And one thing I always like to do is, people ask me, should I use Stack Overflow or should I use or should I just use Google? I always say just use Google, because Google will show all the results, not just from Stack Overflow, but from other places. And what I typically see is with more complicated errors, I usually a lot of times see them in GitHub issues that'll show up in search results, but they don't necessarily show up in Stack Overflow. And GitHub issues are a wealth of information. Usually they're not always as easy to follow, but there's a lot of times that people have errors with different libraries and frameworks, and they'll just make a GitHub issue on it and it never gets into Stack Overflow. So I hope that helped you guys. I appreciate it. If it did, leave a comment below. Let me know if this has helped you. Let me know if I've missed anything, or if you think there's another tip that I should have added. I really appreciate it. If you guys like these videos, I'll be doing more of them. And by the way, for those of you who stayed all to the end, I think I have fixed some of my audio problems, so I was having a little bit of a hum. I think it sounds better. Let me know too. Thanks.